What you focus on?
I'm
Oh,
not good at
talking to
marketing, right?
people.
But guess
Right.
what?
It's
Let me say
sales?
this to you, right?
Oh, no.
You don't have to be the greatest at selling, but when you're passionate about something
Mhm,
and people
mhm.
hear the passion in your voice, that right there carries on. So when you're excited about what you do and you're sharing with
Yeah,
people, good. But guess
yeah,
what? You went ahead and you shared it, but now it's time for you to get the information,
yeah,
follow
and
up,
even
because you just can't tell people and now they're excited and you ain't get their number, you ain't get their email, you didn't get nothing. But here's the thing, right? Here is the thing. You cannot do all that yourself. You can't call all those people. So guess what? I got something so magical for you. I don't know. Some know and some don't know. This is something that's called a CRM system,
ooh,
and it can be anywhere from free to anywhere to the hundreds, okay, where you can actually set up a system. It will collect people's email and it will talk to them on a daily basis while you're working, because you can't do both, because you have your hands full. But when you collect the information and you put it in the system, emails will be sent to them, and you can even kick it up a notch. You can even send text messages to them to
yeah,
remind them. And then let's not talk about if you got a special going on. People love specials. They love discounts. And people are going to talk just like this. And I have to say this because this proves my point. It's proved my point that you don't have to be the expert in what you do. Remember when Popeyes came out with that damn chicken sandwich?
oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
everybody was so ecstatic.
yes, yes.
Nobody realized how they were experts in marketing. Oh my God, girl, that chicken from Popeye was the bomb. But let me ask you this question. Did Popeyes compensate you?
No,
Exactly.
no, they never
E-
no, I never got a dime.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Excitement will attract.
Yes,
Getting people
absolutely.
information to communicate with them is a different level. So if
Mhm.
you are struggling in this area, we're dropping some gems here, okay?
Oh, plenty, plenty. And that's the thing about being around people who think like you,
Right,
right? Because we're dreamers. We believe in our dreams, and we have brought those dreams into reality. And there's so many people who want to bring their dreams into reality, but what is stopping us? Fear, like you said, right? Or sometimes lack of funds or lack of support, right? But
right,
I'm not saying that it's all going to be perfect, but you don't want to wait until you're gone to do this. Whether you're 23 or whether you're 73, it doesn't matter. You're still alive and you still have ways to go because you're still learning, and that's what the brain is hardwired to do, is to actually keep learning and to keep going. So even when our body, even when we're in like a what do you call it, a medical coma, or not even a medical coma, like a regular coma, our
right.
brain, right, is still going, right? Because that's the major computer, right? And we have so much control over it. We have so much control. So being around people who think like you, who believe in you, absolutely believe in you, right, helps you to move from where you are to where you want to go. And that's the thing about when you see someone who's really successful, how do they do it? Right? They don't do it by themselves, of course not. Right? The founder of Square, Jack Dorsey, he didn't do it by himself. He founded Square and he also founded Twitter, or now it's X, right? And
No,
how do these people of high level, both multi-billion dollar companies, how do they operate? How do they do it on a daily basis? Right? They're humans
systems.
just like us. But you know what? I'm sure he has a team, of course,
Absolutely.
right? And the team, right? I'm sure everybody does not do the same thing, right? So, let's just, say that we put so much nuggets here, right? And it will help anyone to, just even inspire you, because we all need that, when, even if you're at the top or at the bottom. And if you're at the bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. And when you're at the bottom, poverty is such a destructive thing. It destroys your mind, it destroys your spirit,
Right.
it destroys ambition, right? So I always say, when, and there are more people in poverty than there are people who are not, the 1%. So when I speak, I'm speaking to a lot of people. Poverty kills ambition. And when you start a business, it generates income where there wasn't, right? And there's something magnificent that happens when you go out and you market your service or your product, because now it gives you control, it gives you power, it gives you freedom, right? A product that people can afford and that they need, right? You go out and you do it, product or service, and you go out and you market, right? And you find the support. Some people it comes naturally. Like myself, when I was in the second grade, it came naturally to me to have the product, and my classmates were like, "Oh, I want it." And I was like, "It's $2." I got it for free. Right? So
Really?
that's my margin, my profit margin. So I learned that at a very early age, right? Some people, it comes naturally. Some people, it comes later. The Colonel, it came later for him, right? But we still love KFC. And there's some people who will argue KFC over Popeyes, okay?
Right.
Right. Because, right, the Colonel, he believed that his nine spices and how many herbs and whatever he had in there was going to turn people, right?
Right. And I'm a piggyback on what you said, right? Because you said you started hustling in the second grade, right? So
Mhm.
when people ask me, oh, how long you been in business? And when I think about it, I'm like, damn, since I was a little girl, because I was out there hustling too. Me and my cousin, and I'm pretty sure I'm telling my age, y'all remember this, when you used to go to the supermarket and you had the kids at the end, they was bagging your groceries. That was me and my cousin. We went from bagging groceries to
Yeah.
going on the golf course to selling, the balls. Yeah, we did everything. We hustled,
Yes.
right? I'm saying all this because you mentioned the Colonel, right? And the Colonel was, I believe he was 67 years old when he
Yes.
first got KFC ground up. What I'm saying to you, all these things, and I was teaching this to my son the other day, just speaking about this, everything that we started from a young age to the age where we finally said, haha, let me go ahead and do it. We don't realize all those little things in between add up and lead us to get to that place. So you
Yes.
in the second grade, that was just you getting your feet wet. So
Yeah.
now, like I said, the Colonel was dead, and there's franchises of KFC still going,
Still
and I'm
popping up.
pretty
Still
still
popping
popping
up.
up.
Mhm.
And what is that right there? That's residual income.
Yes. Yes.
That's a
Because he
state.
believed. Yeah.
The state is probably still getting something, even though I think the
Yes.
recipes and stuff like that was sold. But if he had someone smart doing the business deal for him, he would still be getting some proceeds today, which I'm pretty sure they probably is. But that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And the Colonel, he believed in his dreams. He did not let anyone deter him. And of course, there are going to be people who are naysayers, like, the business you were talking about. Oh, close it down, And he probably might needed to close it down, who knows, to come back. And sometimes you have to do that. It's not a goodbye. Sometimes it's a setback for a comeback. I absolutely
Absolutely.
believe in comebacks, right? So you never know. You never know.
You're absolutely right about that. And I have to say this, sometimes it's great for you to shut down and close down so you can regroup and get your thoughts together. And I understand
Mhm.
now why a lot of millionaires and billionaires say this expression. They said if they lost everything today, they would know what it takes to rebuild it. See, when you have the skills, you already know what to do because you already made some of the mistakes of what you should have not done. But and that's the part people don't
Mhm.
like. Failure, failure is a part of growing because you got to see what not to do. However, because remember, we're talking about specialty. When you include people in your planning, when you speak to someone like myself, like Kendria, and we're giving you the proper steps, sometimes it's great to get from that grasp what we're saying so you can avoid those steps because sometimes those steps that you take it that can cost you and you don't want that. That can cost you your reputation, that can cost you your money and other things. And if you can avoid that, you'll be in a steady ground, but at least you have some type of idea of what you need to do the next time around.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I just can't emphasize the support anymore because, it actually it makes sense to have support in your
Right.
business.
Right.
Can't do it by yourself. Didn't he do it by himself? I don't know. We won't touch on that
Well,
subject.
we don't want to talk about him. He on the hot water. But let me tell
And
you something. I'm gonna say this. A lot of those celebrities that made it, some of them are a lot of them are under hot water. But the key thing is that they had to drive, and
yes,
they built their fortune.
yes.
And guess what? They didn't get to those places by themselves. Like it's like they was able to do certain things, but then they met other people because now they have the funds to invest into themselves to go ahead and take it to the next level. Because you don't know everything, but when you know people who got the resources, when you say, "Hey, I know such and such do this," let me get my money
Yeah,
together so I can go see them because I know they will take me to the next level. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why it's always important to ask, well, what's the investment for me to work with? I want people to get into that mindset. I'm like, oh, how much is it gonna cost me? No. Put
Mm,
yourself in the shoe to say, what is the investment that's going to help me to speak to you so you can get me to that next level? And then that should be also in your plan too, your goal. You go, oh, she said it's 997. Okay, let me get this 997 up and go back and see her. Because that 997 is an investment.
yeah, it absolutely is. It is. It is. So, we're talking like we keep going back on important things because we know how important it is to have these things down pat in business. And when you were talking about like doing everything, I wanted to touch on the CEO. um, to me, a CEO means chief executive officer. But for a lot of people who are starting their business or who already self-employed, I wouldn't say small business owner because a
Yes,
small business owner already figured out some things. But if you're self-employed, right, you're chief everything officer, right? Right, chief everything officer, because
right.
you're doing everything, and to drive the business forward, you've got to learn how to make the most of your time and create margins in your day so that you can start working on your business instead of working in it. So, areas that entrepreneurs need to focus on are time management, hiring, delegation, as you mentioned before, and budgeting. So,
And
time. Mhm.
systems.
Systems. Absolutely. You know what? Systems. Absolutely. And I am a supporter of systems because they work. I am a computer follower. I'm not a geek, but I definitely love using computers for your business because it's a great tool, it's a great resource, and it eliminates you from doing or being the chief everything officer. So, the
Absolutely.
time management control, focusing on that, creating schedules. I have two businesses. And can you imagine Jack Dorsey, who, when he was running Square and Twitter at the time, how crazy his schedule was? You know what I mean? So, that's two different companies, that you have to make sure that you're there for trainings, for meetings, for, different things. So, focusing on your schedule, having, even at home, we haven't touched on relationships in business. That's a
Ooh,
whole separate topic, but making sure that you have that time for your husband or your spouse or and your children, and your extended family members. I definitely suffer from this because family members are so far away, and because we're all far apart, we're all doing different things. It's hard to keep family members. So doing WhatsApp groups or family live videos together, it definitely helps. Hiring, you have to focus on finding the right people and trusting them when they get on board. And you spoke about delegation. I know you're going to go into that in another topic, but it's letting go. And let not people say letting go and letting God, but I believe in letting go and empowering, because when you empower the person to do what they're doing, they're going to focus on and hone in on their specialized knowledge, right? Something that you don't possess,
right.
right? And budgeting, this is absolutely essential. You need to know what you have, right? And you always need to have more than what you spend, because if you spend more than what you have, then you're always going to fall into a deficit.
Ooh, you
Yeah.
you
So, right.
before you go into the deficits, I just
Yeah.
want to piggyback on something that you said real quick because you had a lot of key points. I want to freeze at the moment when you talked about the woman and her significant other, right? And her having a family. one of my biggest compassion is that I would like to help women who have families get back to their families, to spend more
Mm,
time in that area. Because let me tell you something, men, you are awesome, and I'm not taking anything away from you. But women, we are the helpmates. And if we are missing from the home and we're not able to help you, this is where a lot of things crumble because our support is still needed. But Kendria, what you have said, in order for that woman to get into to be that placeholder of that helpmate, to stay in the family, she's going to need everything you just mentioned. She's going to need the delegation. She's going to need, first, let me go back up. The system, because the system is going to put everything into place. When people hear systems, I don't want you just to think, oh, it's actually that machine thing that do things for you. No, your system is your flow. Your flow of, how does this work when this person places an order? How does it work when Nancy is working as an administrator? This is everything. This is everything documented. And yeah, we talked about specialty. This is where I come in because I'm a big geek in this area. I'm very big on
yes.
system and what goes where and how to place it, and maybe you might need to arrange. That is my specialty, and not everybody has that. So again, I emphasize on helping women to get to that space so they can be in the home as a helpmate, because why? They have that system flowing in their
Hmm.
household, both in their household and in their business. So they
Oh,
can be there for their significant other and their kids.
and you know what? Let's dive a little bit deeper into this because while and this is something that I did, and I'm not going to talk about things that I don't know of and that won't work. So, um, there's what I encountered is that there are a lot of stay-at-home spouses that don't report their side income, right?
Ooh,
Or they help their mates, their spouses, their husbands or wives or whoever in their business, and they're not reporting that, right? So doing what Kalima is saying, like having a system. If you're already at home and you're supporting your spouse, right, and you say, okay, I'm going to start a business on the side, or I'm going to make a little bit of extra income, doing selling something on Etsy, for instance, that allows you to be at home and generate income where there wasn't, because remember, there was no money coming in from that business that you created. So
right.
now there's income coming in. Now you have to put yourself on a schedule. I'm going to put this time to do my marketing, to contact people, right? To follow up on customers, to go out and put some flyers out. You know what I mean? To go to this function, and I'm going to schedule the time with my husband. I'm going to schedule the time with my kids. The kids have basketball, or parent teachers meeting, so much. But, when you're home and you're the primary, caregiver for your family, and you're doing all of this, you have to report that income. It will help you, not now, but it helps you later on in life. We're not thinking about Social Security and Medicare now because we're young. But if you're at home and you're taking care of your kids and you're a stay at home mom for 15, 20 years, that's 15, 20 years that you'll never get back. And then the kids are older. And then what are you going to do? Right? You start working. And then if you're almost 55, right? Social Security retirement kicks in at 62, you don't have enough credits.
Lady K.